Welcome to another episode of We Don't Die. I'm your host, Sandra Champlain, author of the international best-selling book called We Don't Die, A Skeptic's Discovery of Life After Death. And today is a special day for two reasons. One, we have a very special guest that you'll meet in just a moment. The other is that today marks episode number 500, which is so hard to believe. And I want to just thank anyone who is here listening or viewing, watching for the first time, or you've seen them all. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. As a reminder, my home base is wedon'tdie.com, where you can always find great things, including our free Sunday gathering inspirational service with medium demonstration included. I also have a Patreon club if you're interested in my work. It's a list of all my episodes between this and also my best of all things Afterlife show called Shades of the Afterlife, which is on iHeartRadio. So there's a list there for you of 750 episodes. Oh my gosh. You know I'm committed. So let's meet our wonderful guest. So today we are talking to Omar Perez, a father who was navigating the unimaginable grief of the passing of his young daughter. Then a sudden and dramatic turn of events brought him to the brink of death himself, where he had a profound experience that transformed his understanding of life and death. I'm so grateful he is here to share his story with you today. Omar, welcome to We Don't Die.
Thank you so much for having me. It's honestly an honor. I'm super excited to share my experience and just be able to plant the seed in anyone that's looking for some hope.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, first of all, for our viewers, they're going to wonder, what's this guy doing sitting in the car? You want to just let us know where you are in the world and why the heck
Yes,
you're in the car.
absolutely. So I reside in South Carolina, where there's currently about 101 degrees out there. So I'm working, and I took a break to come and do this with you and share my story. And so I'm in my dad van, I call it. This is where I always used to take my girls on road trips, and it's a safe space for me. It's a great space for me, and it worked out today. So
Oh,
and
what do
there's
you
some
do?
air conditioning.
What do you do for work, if I can ask?
So I'm a landscaper at the University of South Carolina right now. In my past life, I was a medical assistant, dialysis tech, and an EMT. And the way my life has gone, this is where what I'm doing now, where it led me to. So
It's all good. I know you've got a story to share, and my heart goes out to you for everything you've experienced. So send in our love. But why don't you begin? Share about you, your family, what happened, because you've got
sure,
some monumental things, and I know they'll
yes,
make a difference with those who are listening today.
absolutely. So my wife and I have been together 25 years. We have a 21-year-old son, and in 2017 we were blessed with twin daughters, fraternal twin daughters. And everything was perfect for us. Life was going good, work was going good, careers. I mean, everything was going great. In 2020, the end of 2020, my Khloe became sick in a very short amount of time, about 3, 4 days. We took her to the hospital several times. She was suffering from fever, bowel issues, and they just couldn't figure it out. They kept sending us home saying, it's a virus, it's a virus, go home, it's a virus. Okay. I trusted the medical system at that point a lot because I was in the field. Um, and on that Sunday, which was November 3rd, we headed back to the hospital. At this point, so we were home. She had gone to the pediatrician's office. They checked her over. They said, well, I'm going to order some labs. And if anything, I'll have you go back to the hospital, but I'm going to call myself and have have them admit her. We went back home. We decided to put her down for a nap. And within about a 2 to 3 minute time frame, she started moaning. My son ran in, called me over. I ran in, and at this point, she was very lethargic. She was not responding to my commands. She was not responding to my voice. I was moving her around, shaking her. Her eyes were just, it was almost like her eyes had glazed over and she just wasn't there. When I took her temperature, it had shot up to about 106 degrees. So I jumped into the bathtub with her. Some of my training kicked in. I jumped into the bathtub with her. I tried to bring her temperature down. We called the ambulance, of course, and we rushed her over to the children's hospital. At that time, it was during COVID, so they were letting only one parent at a time into the hospital, and I wasn't going to take that away from my wife. She wanted to be there with her, so I said, of course, I'll stay with the kids. Um, and everything snowballed after she got to the hospital. She wasn't getting any better. She started to have seizures. They had taken her down for an MRI, a little too late, in my opinion. And on the way down is when she had her first cardiac arrest. So they brought her into trauma. They tried to bring her, get her to feel, get better, to stabilize her. And at that point, I was already headed to the hospital. My wife had called me. I headed in. I got maybe about 10 minutes with her. In the MRI, she had a massive seizure. And once I got there, I had about 10 minutes with her, and that's when she went into cardiac arrest. They put her on ECMO, which basically does everything for your body in order for your body to take a break, to start healing. It breathes for you. It filters your blood. It does everything. Unfortunately, while she was getting hooked up, the doctor came out and said that her heart was too weak. It was barely beating at 22 beats per minute. And at that point, there was nothing more that they could do. So I walked in and I held her, and until her little heart, beat one last time, and she was gone. And this was all within a span of 6 hours. To this day, almost 5 years later, we don't have a reason as to why, what caused this virus illness to come on, or what it was. We have gone through, you name it. We've gone through doctors, specialists, in-state, out-of-state, and nothing so far. So right now, her case is actually being studied by the SUDC, which is the Citing Unexplained Death in Children organization. And just recently, we got a call from the Department of Public Health in our old home state that they are taking on her case to do an investigation as to what happened and what missteps were taken during her care. Again, it was COVID time, so there was just a lot of, you couldn't get in. They were overwhelmed. It was a lot. But we're about to be 5 years with her in spirit on November 4th. We moved to South Carolina shortly thereafter, about 10, 11 months after, just because we couldn't be in the same house. It was too much for us, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people that have gone through it of losing somebody so close. Some people don't want to let go of it, and others just can't stand to be in the same space, and that was us. So I've been here for just about 4 years in South Carolina. So, and it was definitely starting all over again for us. Now, in terms of what happened to me recently, and just to preface it, I've never been a drinker, a smoker. I do have asthma, exercise induced, but pretty healthy guy. And December of 2024, just recently, I came down with a pneumonia. I thought it was run of the mill. Kept working, kept going. I wasn't feeling that great. Kind of kept progressing, and on about December 12th, I ended up waking up and not being able to breathe. It was just super difficult to breathe. I had a high fever. I was taken to the hospital, and I had sepsis. When they brought me in to the second medical facility, because I was transferred, my lungs collapsed back to back. And at that point, they brought me to the ICU. They brought me back, they intubated me, and I was put on a ventilator and life support. And that was just this December.
Oh,
Yeah.
My gosh, that's a lot. I know we're going to talk about what happened next, but I just want to ask, when Khloe passed, were you and your wife, did you have any faith in the afterlife? Did you believe in this kind of thing? I'm sure you never thought you'd be telling your story
Yeah.
like this today, but can I just
Yeah.
ask about that?
Yeah, of course. My wife has always been a very spiritual, faithful person. Just always had. It's unshakable. So she has always had this connection with, especially with her grandmother who passed and when she was younger and who raised her. And when my own mother passed when I was 20 years old, um, my wife would talk to me about my mom and things that I know my wife would have never known. Um, so she's always had that. Myself, I I've been to tons of churches in my life. I mean, I was raised Catholic, went to Baptist, tried Jehovah's Witness, tried being an atheist. I mean, you name it, I tried. I just couldn't find a spot for me. I didn't agree with a lot of things. And in terms of the afterlife, I was always very skeptical, even when my own wife, now it's going to be 25 years, would talk to me about my mom, and I knew that she was saying things that she otherwise wouldn't have known, but I still was very skeptical. So when Khloe passed, I lost all my faith in God, all my faith in anything afterlife. Um, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. I mean, it just completely destroyed even an inkling of faith or hope that I had when that happened. So
I can't get it because I haven't been in your shoes, but I know what it's like. Things seem too good to be true. And, what kind of God would there be when these kind of things happen?
yeah,
What happened to you next? There you were with your collapsed lungs and sepsis.
yeah.
Tell us your experience.
So I don't remember much of being in the hospital, of course, but I know where I was. And it wasn't in the hospital. So they had put me on the ventilator, on life support, feeding tubes, you name it, the whole gamut. Which is, now thinking about it, it's odd because usually I'm the guy helping out, and now I'm on that bed. Um, so all I remember was waking up, and it was a beautiful pathway, just a winding pathway. Um, and it was, I know a lot of people say, oh, light at the end of the tunnel. I didn't see that. It was this bluish, grayish, foggy, but it was I don't want to call it like a sparkly fog, but it was just this calming, very pleasant, very beautiful fog, and just winding path that I found myself on. Um, and I knew there was nothing behind me. It was just a kind of like a wall of fog, and there was really nothing behind me, but in front of me there's this path, and I wasn't confused. It was more of a, huh, okay, I think I know where I am, but I want to take this path. I'm going to walk. So I proceeded to walk down this winding path. And for a while, there was nothing. It was just myself, um, my thoughts, and just looking around, being curious, and at the same time thinking to myself, am I in heaven? Am I somewhere in between? Like I know I'm somewhere. I couldn't figure it out. And as I kept walking down this path, slowly to my left hand side, a group of folks started coming into view. And on my right hand side, it was almost as if there were, I don't want to call it TV screens because it wasn't that, but it was through that fog, there were these times in my life that for me are core memories. Um, when, when my mom passed, when Khloe passed, when my daughters were born, when I got married, and it was just like memories playing. And again, just on my right hand side, which really caught my attention because again, they're core memories to me that I always hold dear. And that's when I started to think to myself, I said, okay, wait a minute. I'm definitely on the other side because this is not normal. But I was comfortable. I wasn't afraid. I wasn't nervous. And I kept walking. And again, the people to my left kept coming more and more into focus, but they were a little bit more further down than these visions, these memories were. Um, as I got closer to the folks, then I started turning my attention to them. And I could see a lot up close, but there were folks behind them in this group that I couldn't make out. You could see they were there, but there were no facial features. It was just difficult to see. They were in that fog. Um, but the folks that were there in the front, I could hear them having conversations, looking over at me, smiling. Just a very comfortable, it was a very comfortable place to be. And I wanted to kind of join in, but I felt the need to continue walking this beautiful winding path. And after continuing to see those images and those folks, I got a little further down and there was a woman and she had curly hair, dark curly hair. Um, and I felt the urge to go to her. So I went to her and I said, I'm so sorry. I said, I have this, I know you, but I can't place you. I don't remember your name, but I just have this feeling that I know you. I just, it's there. And I kept apologizing. I said, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I can't place you, but I know you. And she looked at me and she put her right hand on my cheek. And she said, don't worry. It's okay. You will. And then she kind of rubbed my shoulder and just kind of nudged me to continue to walk. So I continued to walk, but looking back at her, and she kept smiling, and I just couldn't place her, but I had this thing inside of me. It was like I know her. So I continued to walk with that on my mind, and kept looking over to my right as well, looking at all these. At that point, I'm seeing my wedding, and just remembering that day so vividly. And then as I walked, and time is different. It's not like here where you can say, "Oh, it's been 2, 3, 4 minutes." It's completely different. Um, so I felt like I was walking for a very long period of time. And then I came upon a gentleman that I got the same feeling. And this was an older gentleman with a beard, white. He had this cap on. It wasn't a brimmed hat like this, but it was a cap on. And um, and again, I just felt compelled to go to him and say, I know you. I can't place you, but I know you. He didn't say a word to me. He looked at me, he smiled, and then he patted me on the head like I was a little kid, like it was grandpa to his little, grandson. Just patted me on my head, patted me on the shoulder, and again, just very kindly, just kind of nudged me to continue to walk. Now, with a lot of people, and now that I've started looking and reading and watching things, a lot of people say they felt peaceful. Um, I'm not saying it doesn't feel peaceful. It was definitely peaceful, but overall, I felt fulfilled, just completely, totally fulfilled, as if I didn't need a thing. I wanted nothing. And even knowing that, okay, I'm here, I probably am not going to go back. I've been a worrywart since my Khloe passed on. Helicopter parent, helicopter husband. I'm constantly worried. Are they okay? But I felt this overwhelming of, I know they're going to cry. I know they're going to hurt, but they're going to be fine. They're going to be perfectly fine. And I can't control that, but I know they're going to be okay. So I didn't have this yearning. Some people say, oh, I didn't want to go back. It's not me not wanting to go back. It's just knowing completely that they were okay. That no matter how this played out, my son, my other daughter, my wife, they're going to be okay. So I continued to walk. And I came upon a memory that I had an experience, didn't remember, was not a core memory. And it was currently where we live in our home, in the living room. I see my wife sitting on the couch crying. I see my son standing next to her trying to console her. And in front of her on the coffee table is the urn that my daughter's ashes, my Khloe's ashes are in. It's a butt shaped like a butterfly. And right next to it is another urn. And that's the one thing that I went, oh, and it just kind of, I don't want to say it hurt my heart, but it just, I was saddened by it. Um, and I blinked my eyes, which is the only time I remember blinking my eyes so vividly, and I'm not there anymore. I'm sitting in a vast open space, same fog, and out of the left side of this area I'm sitting in comes my Khloe. And she is just everything I remembered and everything I envisioned in my head of what she would look like now at 6 years old. She's the only one in her family with curly hair, but she had thick, dark brown curly hair. Um, and she's wearing one of my favorite shirts that she had is this red shirt with two little hearts in gold. And she's got her little blue pants on and her little sandals that were gold that I had put on her at the funeral home. I had put on her little gold sandals and I had painted her toenails and fingernails purple, which was her favorite color. And she had that on, but her hair was longer. She was smiling. She had a little to hold back her hair. I forget the word for those. It's like you put them in here and you it's like a little hair band, I guess. Um, and she comes over to me and she starts saying to me, "Daddy, I miss you. I love you so much." And we had such a wonderful conversation of her telling me that she's okay and her telling me, "Daddy, you were right. My job was done and I did a good job, Dad. I did a very good job." And ugh, I'm sorry.
Take your time. It's okay.
Oh, goodness.
So much love and emotions. I know the more we
I
love,
mean,
the
it
tougher it
was
is.
it was just such a beautiful experience to be able to have that with her. And I've been yearning for so long, not knowing if it was my fault, not knowing, you carry that guilt with you because not only are you her father, she's under your watch that day. You're in medicine. You should know what to do. You should have picked things up. That stuck with me for a long time. Um, oh, I'm so sorry.
No apologies needed. It's tough being human.
It sure is. um, but she sat with me and I got to hold her. And just, when you smell your kids, you kind of smell their head and their hair. There's that smell that only kids, it's something you don't. Um, and the reason it hit me so hard, not only was it seeing her, but and being with her, but when she said, "Daddy, you were right. I did my job well." When my daughters were born, I always used to say my Sophia was brand spanking new. I said, she hasn't been here before. She's just brand spanking new. But Khloe had this old soul quality to her. I told my wife and my brother and everyone, I said, she's such an old soul. She's so calm. She goes about life, you know, she knows what risk to take, what to do, what not to do. She's always the one consoling Sophia. Um, I just felt like she was here before. And I used to joke about it all the time. And right before my wife and I found out we were pregnant with the girls, we had had a miscarriage just 3 months before. Um, we were expecting, 13 years after we had our son, and we're excited. We're going, and we go into the doctor's office, and they say, "I'm so sorry. the baby's not alive. So when that happened a little while later after the girls were born, I always used to say, for me, I think Sophia was coming. She was too nervous. So the Lord threw in Khloe and said, don't worry, she's going to guide you through this life because she's got the experience that you don't have. So when Khloe told me, Daddy, you were right. I did my job. I did it really well. I'm so proud. It was everything to me. Everything I wanted to hear, everything I wanted to feel. And just knowing how safe and cared for she is. So we spent time together, and it felt like a very long time. Thinking about it now, it's so quick here, but there was such a long time. And then I came to realize when I came to later on that we never moved our lips. She never spoke. When she spoke to me, we weren't moving our lips. It was just looking into her eyes. And I heard her it's so clear. And I would speak to her and she would respond. But our lips were never moving. They just were never moving. And I didn't come to realize that till after. So we spent our time together, and at the end she said, Daddy, I have to go. But remember, I love you so much. I'm always with you. I'm always with Sophia, with Mama, with Michael. I send you signs. I'm here with you. And I hugged her and I told her what I needed to tell her. And as she walked away back to that left side, I never thought I would feel okay with her walking away. You want to keep them here all the time with you. But she walked away, she waved, she smiled, and I felt such peace because I just knew she was going to be okay and that I was going to be with her. And right before she's out of that area that I saw her on the left there, my dog, which is at home, comes bolting in out of the right-hand side. And her and Khloe had a very good bond. She would come downstairs and she would lay on the floor and let Leela just kind of lick her left and right. And she was just, our dog and her had an awesome relationship, whereas my Sophia and the dog didn't didn't mesh so well, but Khloe and Leela just always meshed. And I took it as, okay, honey, I will take care of Leela. I'll make sure she's okay. I know we have a love-hate relationship, but I promise you, I'm going to take good care of her. And they walked away together, and I was there for a while, just enjoying that feeling, And my eyes again, I feel my eyes blinking again, and all of a sudden, I feel like I'm laying flat, but I can't open my eyes. I don't feel fear. I don't feel nervousness. Nothing. I'm like, oh, I'm laying down. I said, okay, I guess this must be the next part of what's supposed to go on. And I tried to open my eyes. I couldn't. And then I tried to sit up, and this heavy, gentle, but very heavy hand right on my chest. Excuse me, on my head. I feel it on my head. It kind of just puts me back. And I say to the person, I say, I'm sorry, I just want to get up and see a little more. I just want to see where I am. And I hear a very, again, it's a calming presence, but it's a very kind of booming voice that says no. Just no. And my hand going, okay. And I attempt to get up again, and I feel that same hand on my head and now on my chest. And just with pressure, a lot of pressure. But again, doesn't hurt, it's just forceful. And I hear no. And then I feel getting pushed into this, whatever I'm laying on, just kind of getting pushed into it slowly. And then again, when I opened my eyes, now I am in a room. There, it felt like a room to me, but there's no walls, and it's that same fog, but it has lost kind of its shine, its sparkle, I guess. Um, and I'll tell you, I just started feeling nothing but pain. It was as if my grief, anger, regret, guilt, every bad feeling that we go through here that you can feel all at once, all in my chest. And I began wailing. And the last time I felt like I wailed like that was when I held Khloe and she passed. It was that wailing where it was uncontrollable, unconsolable. And I just kept begging, please let me go back. Please let me go back, meaning where I just was. And just saying, please let me go back. No, this hurts. Please let me go back. And I'm crying and crying and crying and crying. And I closed my eyes, and that was it. I there's a gap there in time that there's nothing for me. It's just blank. Um, Now in the hospital, my wife is there, and she said that at some point that, and again, I'm just assuming it was that same day. Um, I was still on life support, and they tie you down when you're in a situation like that in the ICU. And I guess I started kind of trying to fight the restraints, and the nurse was there, and she, I apparently panicked with my wife, and like, he's not supposed to be moving. He's in an induced coma. This shouldn't be happening. So they go in, they get the doctors, they bring everyone in, and apparently they pumped me full of more medication and knocked me out again. Um, at the end of that evening, the doctor had said, listen, they knew it was a 10% chance that I would make it out. My wife had already signed do not resuscitate paperwork. It was all being laid out. Um, and they said, listen, the only thing we can do to try after this amount of days is we can take him off the ventilator and see if he starts to breathe to himself, but we can't um, uh, uh, we can't say he's going to make it. We don't know. At this point, I had been on about 11 different antibiotics and steroids. They had gone in and did a broncoscopy, which is basically like roto-rootering your lungs. Um, so, and this is all being told to me, but all I know is that I was woken up on Christmas Day in the afternoon, evening time, and I came to after being taken off of the ventilator. Um, I remember seeing some of my family there, but I couldn't speak with the tubes and everything. I just couldn't speak. But the first thing was I needed to tell them what just happened. I needed to tell them I saw Khloe. This is what I saw. This is what I experienced, but I couldn't talk. So my son was there, and I'm trying to get my hands up, and my hands are tied, but I'm twisting it, and I'm doing this, like a pencil. So my son got it, and he goes and he gets me a board, he gets me a marker, and unties me, and I just start to write. They told me just started writing and writing, and my son would turn it around, and then he'd erase it and then write and write, and I'm trying to tell them all of this stuff. Um, and I couldn't hold it in. I couldn't hold it in. Um, I made a recovery, which was basically shocking to everyone. Um, and I was sent home about a week and some change later. Um, and this is where my dog comes into play for validation for my family. For me, I don't need any validation. I know where I went. I know what I felt. I know what I've seen. But for my family, they just didn't want to tell me while I was at the hospital because to them, it was still a rocky road. They don't want you getting any bad news, anything like that. So I get home, I walk in, and I'm looking for the dog. Come to find out, my wife sits me down and says, I didn't want to tell you, And this is when she begins to cry because I had told her, written down the story of what happened to me there. She had put my dog down the day before I woke up on Christmas Eve. So my dog became very ill and started having seizures when I was in the hospital. And she took her in, and the vet said, "Listen, we can't do anything for her. She's, the best thing for her is to be put down." So she had put her down. So what I thought was my daughter saying, "Take care of my Leela," was my dog entering the picture and them reuniting. And of course, when I get home and I hear this, I start crying. My wife is crying. My son is crying. My friend is crying. And it was validation for them. For me, my tears, because of course my dog's gone, but I just never thought in a million years that I not only would I experience that, but to have that very specific thing happen that I saw with my own two eyes, to then go home and say, they told me, they said, "I don't know if you noticed in the room, but we kind of all looked at each other." And I honestly don't remember. There's so much stuff here that I don't recall. That when I wrote that about the dog, she had already been on. They all looked at each other. So it was validation for them. Um, and it's been, since that time, I feel like a different person.
I can believe it. And you look healthy, you look well.
Yes.
I have tears in my eyes right now.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, in a good way, in a good way. They call those veridical near-death experiences. Those are verifiable or veridical near-death experiences. They're rare that we hear them, but there's plenty of them. Like blind people who have never had vision can see first time in the afterlife, or people that didn't know someone has passed and they see them and then they come back to find out. So it brings me great joy that your daughter's with your dog and your dog's with your daughter. Thank you for sharing that, because it's those stories that really touch our hearts. And you know what's happening in our country, but of course all over the world.
All
There's
over the world,
so
yeah.
much death, and now so many children have passed, and parents want to know absolutely that they're still around. And you have a
True.
story that they are still around.
They are with us. And I've told multiple people, I say, "Listen, I know that for us who lose our children, and even if you lose a parent, your spouse, a loved one, but with your children, you're always looking for this very specific sign. We look for these signs of, it has to be a black and white, no gray whatsoever. This is her or him." Before I said, "This is my Khloe. This has got to be my Khloe." "Oh, I don't know," because you start second guessing your thoughts. And I can tell you with more than 1,000% uh, 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 confidence that they are there. They send us so many signs. Little things that we bypass as a coincidence. There's no coincidences. There are no coincidences. They are doing it purposely. And some of us, like myself, like some dads that I've met, some moms that I've met that have lost their children, you go this long amount of time without getting any signs. You feel like, "I'm not getting anything. They're not coming to me." Are they really gone? Is there another side that we go to? They are. They're there. It's just the way that I understand it now is our grief here is so massive. It overshadows and covers everything that we want to see from them. Anything we basically give up being open to these things, being willing to see these things. And they, from something as, some people get feathers or butterflies or cardinals or, heart-shaped rocks, or, I mean, I've heard so many things, and a lot of people would just say, "Oh, that's it." And a little bit later, like myself, I say, "Oh, you know what? No, that couldn't have been. That's just a coincidence. Just my mind saying, trying to make me feel better to cope with the reality of not having my daughter here." But it's not. They know what they're sending. They're sending tried and true messages to us. And when we need that very specific sign is when we most need it. We may not feel like we need it. we may feel like I've been having a good day, I've been having a decent week, I've been managing. And sometimes we get those massive, you know, signs from them that you just can't say, oh, it's not that. No, you know for a fact it's that. And then some of us will get it when we're in our deepest pain. Why? I don't know. That's the way that our children work and our loved ones work. But they are there. They're sending us signs. They're by our side. And I have no doubt whatsoever that where we are living right now, this plane is not the end of us. It is not. What we have inside of us, our soul, is an amazing, it's the major thing of what makes us us. And when we leave this place, that fulfillment that I felt that I'm talking about, we're all gonna feel. I wish I could. I told the guys in my Helping Fathers Heal group a while ago. I said, if I could take this feeling and break it into a million pieces and give it to every single person, even a hundredth of an ounce of this feeling, I would love to give it to you because do I feel pain? Do I feel grief? Absolutely. Just because I went through this does not mean that I don't miss my daughter, that I don't have my days where I cry. But now I know that I can stop myself and say, or you know where you're going. You may not know how long it's going to take you to get there, but you know where you are going. You know that you will be with your Khloe again. So I have that in me now. And I wish I could give that to people, to have that knowing that, hey, yeah, it sucks here. It is painful here. But on the other side, all of that is gone. And if we take the time to just connect with our children, connect with our loved ones, look at a picture, a memory, a video, something that, an object that means something to you that's connected to them. If that's your way of just being able to sit and open your mind and shut off your brain, all that nonsense that goes on in our heads, you can feel that. And even if it's fleeting, if it's momentary, it's a little bit of what you feel when you get there. I'm excited to go back. I don't. I want to live my life here. I want to see my daughter grow up, my Sophia, and Michael, and be with my wife for as long as I can. But I want to go back. I have no fear of dying. It's just not there anymore. It doesn't exist to me anymore. The worry of what's going to happen to them if I go before them, that's not there anymore. Um, and to all your listeners, I just, if what I say during this conversation drops a little seed of hope inside of you, that is all I'm hoping that it does, because I had no purpose in life after Khloe passed. When my mother passed, she was very sick. I got into medicine because that was not my purpose. I had a purpose. But when it's your child and then not knowing why she's gone, you have no purpose. You just feel completely lost. Why are you even here? What is the purpose? What lesson am I supposed to learn? After my experience, I have come to realize that for me, it's just sharing my experience and hopefully planting that little seed of hope of where we're going, where our children are, where our loved ones are. And if that can sit inside you and you let your soul water that hope, and you may not feel anything now, you may feel it 5, 10, 15, 20 years later. But if I can manage to drop that little bit of a seed, I know that that's my purpose now. I know my daughter would be proud of me. I know she is proud of me. And it makes me feel good inside that I can do that for someone, because if I can't give you my experience, at least with my words, I can try to convey that experience and what it feels like. And hopefully that's what I can do for the remainder of my time here on this earth, because nothing's going to make me happier than that. Nothing is. And again, your grief is there. Your pain, my pain is there. My grief is there. But I just have that knowing, that hope now, that it goes beyond faith. It's actual belief that there is another place we go.
Yeah, it's a
So that's
knowing.
it is, and it's funny because at church with my family, with friends, with coworkers, I'm like, it's not faith. I have a knowing. I know what's where we go. I know where we go. Now, do I know if I was there full fledged or on the outskirts? I don't know, but I was there, and it's the same feeling, and it's an amazing thing to have now. So again, I just hope that everybody listening just takes a little bit of little seed and hopefully it helps you through the bad days, the rough days, that there is that glimmer of hope that for you guys that, I mean, I would give my life. I would give my life freely with no issues to be able to instill that in every person that's listening to me. Just say, they are okay. We are going to be okay. And the reunion is going to be beyond me. I mean, just beyond me. It's fulfilling. It's that fulfillment I was talking about in the beginning. It just you can't change that unshakable that feeling of fulfillment that you have. So I hope that it reaches. I hope it reaches everyone, but whoever it reaches today, then it was meant to be.
We'll do the best we can to get your words to the most amount of people. I wanted to ask you, many people that I've spoken to that have had these experiences say that it was so clear that it makes this life seem like it was just the dream. Do you have vivid, clear memories like it just happened yesterday?
It is vivid, vivid, vivid. And I had mentioned this before to other people. It's like you have these core memories in your life here where you remember everything to the point of when my daughters were born, I knew exactly where, this piece of medical instrumentation was. I knew where everything was, When we got married, I know exactly, what tree was like. It's just these things that are so, and it's that vivid. It's beyond that. It, I remember everything. And I mean everything, everything, every person, every memory in vivid, vivid, vivid detail. I don't even have to close my eyes. Usually when you're thinking of things, you close your eyes, say, oh yeah, I remember. No, it's like I can have my eyes open and see it in front of me. It's so vivid. Which in a sense makes this world seem kind of blurry. My eyesight isn't the best, but it's such a vivid, vivid experience. I mean, there's no way I could ever forget it. There's no way. There's no way. I
Yeah.
told my wife, I said, if I get old enough and I get dementia, that is definitely the one thing that's not going to go away in my mind because it's just too vivid. It's just so very detailed. Um, I can't shake it. I can't shake it. And I think about it all the time. I picture it all the time. I speak about it to as many people as I can. And it just, I don't know, it's unshakable. And another thing, tidbit, I don't want to take up all your time, but this the one thing I do have to say is that I have experienced a handful of times now being at a Walmart, at a grocery store, at a Target, where I feel the overwhelming need to share this with someone. And it's to the point where I have gotten, I've, in specific, there was one lady that I'd seen at our local grocery store. And I just felt, I was like, oh, what is that feeling? Why do I feel like I need to speak to this woman? I don't know her. And it got to the point where I went to my car, put the things away, got in the car, turned it on, proceeded to go to put it into gear, and I could not put it into gear. I turned it off. I had to walk back into our grocery store and look in the aisles and look for this woman. And I felt that first time, I said, oh my God, I'm such a weirdo. This lady's going to either flip out on me or call the cops on me or security. But this overwhelming need. And I introduced myself. I'm so sorry. And a brief version, I just felt the need to tell, listen, whatever you may be going through, whatever's going on, I just felt compelled to speak to you that this isn't it. This is not it. Um, this isn't a place where we stay. Uh, there's more to our life, and our soul is what carries us. And I've had that happen a handful of times now. I've gotten, like, from that woman, tears, which I of course cried too. I've gotten the okay, dude, and a walk away. Um, I've gotten the confused look and then a thank you. But ever since this has happened, I've done it even here at work with one coworker that I barely know, where I drove by him and I said, like, I know his name. I said, okay, listen, Craig, I got to talk to you real quick. Do you have a minute? And I spoke to him, and come to find out that he was going through some difficult things. I didn't, again, we were different divisions, so I know him from afar, from meetings, things like that. But it's this thing now that I feel like if I feel it, if I feel compelled to share it, I cannot walk away. It will not let me walk away. It's the most uncomfortable feeling if I try to walk away.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I was telling some of the dads. So it's kind of like one of those things where, like, back in the day, like, when you're younger, you go, oh, get into a fight and you say, oh, I should have said this. When you after you walk away, is I should have said this and I should have said this. It's that multiplied by 1,000. So I can't walk away. So yeah, it's gotten some getting used to, but I wouldn't trade it for anything.
No.
I really wouldn't. I really wouldn't.
That's a classic after effect of a near-death experience.
I didn't know that, really.
It is, whether you want to call it more psychic, more intuitive.
Yeah.
You can feel, empathy and what people need.
It is such a strong feeling, and again, and it won't let me walk away, and I have not walked away from one.
Good, and let people do with it what they're going to, because I always had this fear that, and so many other people do too, they're going to think we're weird if we talk about this stuff. But meanwhile, most people do. So you do your part. They may never tell you, but they go home and they sit with it, or, they have their own experience. Did you ever figure out who the other people were on the path?
So it's a good thing you brought that up, because I forgot. So it took several months, but the gentleman, I still do not know. I still do not know who that gentleman is. But I'll tell you, I look for him when I go to stores, when I go to the park, when I go places, restaurants. I'm looking. I have my eye out for this gentleman. The woman, probably about maybe 4 or 5 months later, I woke up out of a nap, and I went to my wife and I said, I know who she was. And my mom had passed away when I was 20 years old. My mom was diagnosed with HIV in the late 80s after having my sister. She had a blood transfusion, and unfortunately, she was infected with the virus. She had a friend who they became best friends during that time, who happened to be HIV positive as well. Her husband had transmitted to her, and her name was Amy. And my mom would always talk about her because Amy didn't survive for long. She was with us for probably another year after her diagnosis, and she passed on. My mom made it 14 years. And I woke up and I said, hey, and I mean, I had chill bumps. I was so ecstatic. I told myself, it was her. It was her. Oh my goodness, it was her. I haven't seen her since I was a kid. And it was just her with the dark brown curly hair, the glasses, very fair skin. And then I started talking about her to my wife and reminiscing and sharing how much of a wonderful person she was. And it brought all these memories back. So I finally figured out who she was. Now I'm looking for that gentleman.
When the time is right, it might be an old family album or someone else's. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, with our time together, let's do a couple of shout outs. helpingparentsheal.org. And you can go to that website. You can also find Helping Fathers Heal. Can you just talk a little bit about the importance of the organization? And
it was a lifeline for me. The first 4 months, of course, I was a zombie. And our leader, Mike Edwards, he was an amazing man. And I remember joining the Helping Fathers Heal group through him. He just kept reaching out through via my wife. And he just kept messaging me through Facebook till I gave in. And the men that I have met on that group have been amazing. I've taken time away from the group. I've come back. I've taken time away. I've come back. And those men are always there. We are open to talk about our feelings. We are open to talk about how crappy the day was, how good the day may have been. Some of us have been in it for a few years, some of it just a few months. And I'll tell you, my first experience, I could barely get a word out. I was crying so much. And these men reached out to me. To this day, they reach out, they message me. We have our phone numbers. We call each other every once in a while. They're just an amazing group of guys that will be there for us. No matter what, any time of the day you call, they'll pick up that phone. If you're having a bad day, a good day. Um, but it was a lifeline for me for sure. Um, only people that lose their children can understand that type of grief. Doesn't matter what they passed from. That grief is the same. And these men are unbelievable. A lot of men like Warren and Andy, I mean, they've taken all that pain that they've gone through and they are helping and they nurture other fathers that come into this group while at the same time being in that grief. And that speaks volumes. But it's an amazing, amazing organization. They have tons, tons of things that will guide you to, for help, options that you have for help. And they've been nothing but a blessing in all honesty. I mean, when I meet people and I know that they've gone through some trauma like we have losing children, I've met quite a few. I always say, hey, join the group, join helping parents, help parents heal, because you need that. It's not the same when you go to, I mean, let me start therapy. Sorry, my wife is a therapist, so not to down anyone, but sometimes you just need somebody that's going through it to understand you. And this is definitely something that it makes all the difference in the world. So the dad's group is hosted every Wednesday in the evening, Eastern time. And again, it's just an amazing group of people, amazing group.
Helpingparentsheal.org for anyone who's interested. There's now about 40,000 members worldwide. They wholeheartedly embrace the reality of the afterlife. They call themselves shining light parents because your kids absolutely live on. You can find Helping Fathers Heal and how to connect to the Zoom group there. There's plenty of books and resources. If you are not a parent, they have a wonderful YouTube channel, and there's been so many great interviews and medium demonstrations and more. So you can find that on YouTube. Also, I just want to mention to anybody who's interested, if you're interested in near-death experiences, our friends at IANS, which is the International Association for Near-Death Studies, is holding their annual conference in 2025. It's the end of August. It's in Chicago. It is also live streamed, so you don't have to go there. There will be over 100 speakers, including some of the top doctors and scientists. Dr. Raymond Moody, who coined the term near-death experience 50 years ago this year, he'll be there as a keynote speaker. There's a lot going on, so I recommend you go to conference.ians.org to find out more about that. Any final words for you today, Omar, with our time left?
Sandra, I am just honored to be on the pod, and I feel super ecstatic for anyone that I'm able to share my story with today. And it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. It's hard to put into words, but I'm very honored and happy to have done this. And hopefully somebody out there can get that little ounce of hope that I hope to bring to people through my daughter. So
thank you very much, Omar. You most certainly have made a difference with me and others today, and we're going to keep sharing your words as far as we can. So thank you to Omar, and thank you to you, our listener or your viewer, or our viewer. Remember, my home base is wedon'tdie.com. Every single Sunday, 2:00 New York time, we do a free Sunday gathering on Zoom. It's an inspirational and empowering online service. And the last half of it, last 45 minutes or so, is a medium demonstration. So we get loved ones from all over the place, from the spirit world, that come in and say hello. So you get to see just how close our loved ones truly are. And we try to uplift in every single one. So you can find that at wedon'tdie.com. Also at the bottom of the page, if you're interested in joining my Patreon club, or if you just want a free copy of my book and some other free goodies, just enter your name and your email address at the bottom of the page. It says you get the first few chapters. Here's the secret. It's the entire book. Chapter 10 is about surviving grief. And I know so many joining us today are experiencing deep, deep grief. So it just explains why we grieve, tools to help move through the grieving process, help you feel better, and give you some understanding that you're not alone. Again, another shout out to our friends at isnt.org and, of course, helpingparentsheal.org. In closing, I'm Sandra Champlain, and I'm so happy always to be your host on We Don't Die. I do believe that life is an education for the soul and that your life here on earth is so important. I don't believe we're supposed to know 24/7 the big picture about life and the afterlife. Kind of takes away the game called life, and it's not a fun game most often, but there is some joy. Please know that your loved ones are healthy, alive, well. It's like they just went on a trip before you. You will most definitely see them again, and their love is right by your side right now. So I really want to thank you for listening or for watching, and we'll see you again soon.